Hello and welcome to the Gaming Podcast. Today we will be reviewing the game Star Trek Fleet Command. In this video, we will also be interviewing a special guest. Spoiler alert, he's my dad and he's cracked at this game. Although this game is based on Star Trek, something that has been washed up for years, is actually a pretty fun game. As you can see, I'm already level 22, but it is actually a really high level. That is because I've already played this game quite a bit. Anyways, let's get into the game. The overview of it is that you have to upgrade your base, collect materials and items, and finally upgrade ships from the Star Trek world. The first and the biggest part of the game is your base. Without it, you can't do anything. Some of the available upgrades on the base are upgrading your shipyard, which allows you to build new and better ships, your R&D department, which does research to upgrade your overall combat skills, and combat skills and galaxy knowledge, etc. The operations, which is the overall level upgrade, and many more. The next most important thing is the ships. You can get ships by collecting shards for them, and then using resources to build them in the shipyard. The higher level you are, the better ships you can get. Some of my all-time favorite ships are the Vauclus, the Stella, the Devore, and the Enterprise. The Vidar is also very cool. They are all shown on the screen now. The last main part of the game is the materials. There are 6 main materials, but 3 of them are more important than the others. These 3 are parsteel, tritanium, and dilithium. Although the other 3, ore, gas, and crystal, are also very important, especially for upgrading ships. There are also some smaller materials that aren't as important. These include latinum, data, isogen, and a couple more. Other than these parts of the game, there are a couple less important ones. The first one is the daily and normal missions. These missions make you do things like mine a certain amount of materials or kill a certain amount of hostiles, also known as reds. These missions also give you a very good reward, very good rewards, sometimes less good or sometimes really good. The next part is officers. These are actually very important and quite underrated. They're also quite hard to understand until you use them for a while. Officers are helpful. They upgrade the strength of ships, and they also upgrade different things, like mine quicker and other things. To collect officers, you have to unlock shards, just like the ships, and then you have to recruit them. The final thing that has to be said about these games is the factions. If you guys don't know, in Star Trek there are factions. These include Romulan, Klingon, Federation, and Rogue. There's also Augment. When you get to a certain level, you can unlock factions. You need to collect points for each faction, which then allows you to buy special faction ships and officers with these tokens that you can collect in-game. That is probably enough about the actual game. We should probably get to the next portion of the video, the interview. Okay, so Chris, you've been playing this game for quite some time now, and I was wondering why you started playing the game in the first place.
Well, I watched a lot of Star Trek growing up, and I liked the movies and all the TV shows that have come out since then, and so I think that's what kind of got me into it at first. But then I really like the kind of game it is. You know, this kind of big universe where you're developing and raising levels and getting new ships and new officers, and I also like the kind of the social aspect because the other people in the game, there's a pretty active chat kind of scene and there's Discord and it's a kind of a big community, and so there's a lot of stuff I like about it.
That's cool. What is your one favorite part though? Like, if you could choose one thing, what is your favorite part?
That's a good question. I mean, it's such a complex game. There's so much going on, and there's a lot of different ways to play. And I feel like some days I really like raiding. You know, I like to just go crash someone else's base and and steal all their stuff. And then other times, I like to just really efficiently do some mining, and kind of feel like I'm like managing four ships at the same time really well. And then sometimes there's some PvP, so we have territory defense. And so my alliance just lost part of our territory, which we are just outraged about. And so that one is coming up again in a few days to be defended, and we're gonna go wreck them and take it back. And it's kind of exciting PvP stuff. So I think it feels a little different on different days, probably.
So maybe depending on your mood, if you're angry, you like to raid or do PvP, depending on.
Yeah, and like sometimes I get kind of irritated by stuff going on in the game, and I might be tempted to go rogue and just start killing everybody and have people chasing me across the universe. And the problem is there's no coming back from that kind of thing, pretty much. So I haven't kind of gone into that meltdown mode yet, but yeah, I mean, I might play a slightly different way in different days.
Okay, let's get into the actual game now. What level are you right now?
So I just turned level 34.
Well, that is actually very high. If you guys don't know, that is a very, very high level. Although it's not as high as some of the best players, which I think go up to like 40, late 40s probably.
Well, you gotta realize that there are quite a few different servers, and I think that there are different servers with different levels. I don't know actually where my server stands in terms of the people with levels. I've seen on Discord and some places people talking about much higher levels than we have in our server. There's nobody over kind of mid to high 40s in server 141, which is our one. So 34 is a relatively high level for our server, but I'm kind of pretty mediocre in my alliance. I'm in a pretty high level alliance, UFOA, and and so we have some quite a few players above me in that alliance.
Yeah. Also, UFOA is partnered with my alliance, Row.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, our alliances have formed like a consortium, like a group of alliances that work together, and so we support each other. We defend each other's territory. We defend raids. We share information. There's another one that's the NEM, NEMA, or NEM A, B, and C, and D or something, and they're actually a single giant super alliance that is dominant on the server, and they're different. They sort of have a more unified command structure. We're kind of more just a collection of friendly alliances.
Are you planning to level up any soon? But no, probably because you just upgraded, right?
Yeah, I just upgraded, and it takes an incredible amount of resources to update when you get to a higher level. So now it's going to take hundreds of millions of resources to level up, and it takes time to gather that stuff, and plus the builds now. So for example, when I leveled up to 34, when I upgraded the operations center, it took 22 days. It was a 22-day upgrade, unless I want to spend a whole bunch of speed ups to get it done faster. So over time, it gets to be more and more resource intensive and more time intensive to level up.
Wow, that's a long time for an operations upgrade.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how long it takes when you're in the 40s. I mean, it must be just crazy. Some of my alliance mates have said they need billions of units of steel to upgrade. So those guys have to be like raiding all the time.
Yeah. Just like straight up, what are your favorite ships in the game? Let's just say 3 to 4 max. What are your favorite ships in the game?
Well, the one I'm lusting after the most right now is the Augur. It's a really powerful interceptor from the Romulans, and it's on our server. It's one of the most powerful ships. There are a few people.
All of these ships will be on the screen while he's talking about them.
There are some of the people who have these ISS jellyfish, which are just insane and really hard to get. Pretty much, you have to like crack open your wallet and just dump out its contents over the period of months to pay for it. But the Augur is pretty gettable. I'm gonna have that probably in a few months. And I love my Saladin. We call it's a really good interceptor also. The Vidar is really cool because it has an interesting backstory. It's actually supposed to be like this machine living thing, but it's a pretty fast and powerful interceptor also, and um, it's good for various things. A lot of things like raiding over cargo ships, killing Borg hostiles. It's pretty cheap to repair, so that one's a really good one. In terms of surveyors, miners, I really like my Cavort, which I've recently upgraded, and now it's getting pretty good. It now has the biggest capacity, but it's also like the really strong battleship kind of miner, and it's kind of like the North Star used to be back when I was lower level. It's just a beast of a miner.
Wow. I do stand by those, but I still think that probably the Stella or the Voclus are probably the best ships, to be fair, because of their looks mostly.
I used to be super attached to my Voclus. In fact, I used to be in this alliance called Chaps, and they used to make fun of me and a couple other players for saying that we loved our Voclus. It is a cool looking ship, but it's also a pretty good fighter. When you're at lower levels. But after a while, its warp its warp capacity is really low, so it can't go to a lot of places you want to go. It starts getting wrecked by other ships pretty easily. If you go up against a Centurion or a Saladin or a Bortus or a D3 or something like that, then your Voclus is going to get wrecked, and so you could kind of like put it in the garage and just keep it shiny and be and just love it forever. But you know,
Yeah.
you grow out of it.
Um, let's get into our last few questions here. What faction did you choose and why?
So when I first had to choose a faction, I chose Federation, and that was mainly just from my prejudice from being a Star Trek watcher. It really gets annoying. You have to send another ship to kill them, or whatever. So I added on the Romulans later on. So I started doing Romulan missions and killing Klingons to try to get in with both Federation and Romulan. Well, what you do when you start getting to a higher level is you get to faction lock. So now I'm above 10 million on both Federation and Romulan. So now I can't go back. They won't start to hate me no matter how many times I kill them. So I'm working on my Klingons now. So right now, all three factions like me.
Oh, that's crazy.
It means I can go anywhere and no one attacks me, except for Augment Space, but they're different.
Okay, so final question: what is your goal, your end goal for this game?
I'm not sure I have an end goal. It's not that I have aspirations to be the most powerful player on the server or something, because that's just not going to happen. Like there are players on the server who are spending like £400 a month. That's not going to happen. So I'm not going to be the most powerful. There are some super nerds on the server who like do their own data analysis. They try different crews and they make spreadsheets of all the damage that was done and that kind of thing. I'm not going to do that kind of thing. I just don't have the time. And so I don't know that I have a goal. I just like to play. I just enjoy the camaraderie with my alliance partners. I like the conflict and the fights, and I like the achievements of getting a new ship or leveling something up. And so I don't know. I guess my goal is just to keep doing what I'm doing and keep playing, and enjoying it.
Okay, well, thank you for being on the podcast. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching the gaming podcast. Please subscribe to see more, and see you in the next one.